Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the post-game show. Greg Chris, joined by Frank Fear. Frank, all I can say, woo! Man, oh man.
maybe Caleb 31 says it better. But
Wow.
when was the last time we saw a game like that? It was like 5 games in one, and
Oh gosh.
oh my God, you just couldn't predict what was going to happen next. Just absolutely incredible. But despite the process, and it was up and down and took a long time for that. I think that game was almost 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Uh, the outcome was West Virginia had to score to win and had to come back to do it. And so uh, Kelly says, "What a great game!" Absolutely. Caleb said, "Best game of my life." It was a great win, especially since we're not playing for, until 2029. And
Yep.
you know what? My brother-in-law contacted me. He's a TCU fan. He said, "What a game!" And I said, I feel best for Nico Morchio. I mean,
Yeah.
when you think about going out, but then coming back and winning it, and doing it in great fashion, he deserves it because he just stuck in there.
Yeah.
And God bless him. And now that Kansas game next week looks very different.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does. It gives you a lot of hope. And I felt like going into this game that, if we corrected some of our mistakes, and I felt like, with the home crowd and that sort of thing. And Frank, you'll have to read the comments because I can't see them. I'm on my phone.
Oh,
It's not big enough for me to see.
yeah, we got Zim 1963. He says it was like the Lord. We'll come back. And Caleb 31 back again. It says game day really messed up by not coming here. And
Amen.
I thought they still might because it was an ESPN game on the main
Well,
channel. Yeah, what are you gonna
yeah.
do?
And I tell you, they were prepared to come because if you watch game day today, several stories they had were West Virginia stories. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but they had a teacher from Indiana or Illinois who was a West Virginia fan, loved college football, and his wife did. They met in college. They loved college football. She ended up having breast cancer and then is in recovery. He decorated his classroom like the college
Huh.
game day set. And was just a huge fan. And they wore their Mountaineer shirts during the show, as they were showing them. And then they had him on the set and gave him some prizes and things, some gratitude things, and it was really nice. But they were big West Virginia fans. Then they did some interviews with some West Virginia players talking about the backyard brawl. So I feel like they fully intended to come. And then us losing to Ohio kind of took the wind out of that sail. But
Yeah.
I do think they were ready to come. Going back to Nico, Frank, what you
If
mentioned
I
there at the
could, if
beginning.
I could,
Yeah.
before you start that, Greg, there's another. Kelly McCourt has a comment that I think feeds
Okay.
into what you're going to say. He says, "I
Okay.
think they should have left Nico in more."
Well, I was going to comment and say that I understand, maybe going to Fox there at that particular time, letting him get a rep or two. I get that. But after that interception, the first one, I thought, Nico was having a pretty good game. I mean, he was pretty solid. He hadn't thrown for a ton of yards, but the offense was moving the ball well. Our running game was working well. And I didn't really understand going to Scotty Fox a second time. And then after he took him out, putting in the other guy, I just didn't understand that. And I was getting text messages, is Nico hurt? What's going on? And I thought, he took a pretty good shot there in the first half and got up limping. And I thought, well, maybe he's got to be hurt. I mean, something's got to be wrong because why else would you keep him out of the game? Because he was having a good game. And I just didn't understand that. That was the only question I had about the game and the calling of the game and the way it unfolded was just the fact that he wasn't in. And I really couldn't understand it unless he was hurt. So everybody kept asking, is he hurt? What's going on? And I said, he must be, or he'd been back in already. And, it almost cost us the game. If you think about it, those two interceptions led to, I think, 14 points. And man, I mean, I'm just like, dang, it's okay to get him some playing time. I get it. And I get changing up the pace a little bit and putting him in just to give Pitt something extra to think about. I think we talked about that in the pregame. Might not be a bad idea. But, once you put him in and give him a different look and you let it go and go back to your guy that's producing, So
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that. And I felt bad for Nico, why he was out, but he redeemed himself. He come back in and led a great drive down the field, threw some nice passes, threw some nice balls, got us in the end zone, and then did the same thing on the 2-point or on the overtime drive. Did some nice things there as well. So happy for him that he was able to pull that off. And man, what a game! What an atmosphere! You know, and I felt this way even after the Ohio game. Our defense is pretty daggone good, and I thought that we would get pressure on Holstein, and I thought it would be easier because we could keep him from running all over the place like Navarro did last week. And I think we did that. We got a lot of pressure on Holstein. He made some big mistakes himself, and I think that was due to the pressure he was feeling. I thought our run defense was solid. I thought our defense played pretty good, and I think our defense is good. And if our offense can continue, in the right trajectory, we could be a good football team.
Yep. Let me put up this. I'll read it to you, Greg. Greg's on his phone, so he's not able to see the screen. Ohio State is up 13-0 on Ohio. It's good to see Jackson Johnson, who does a great job supporting this network. Has a great podcast on Alabama. Just a great colleague and friend. Let's go. We do it.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I'm so happy. Did you see let me see. I can't see that. Go flying off Rich Rod shoulders. I can't see the symbol, but that's great. And
I'm sure it's a monkey.
Yes, probably what it is. Very good. He's got another one here. Let me see if we can put it up. I don't even know about shaking hands. But the thing about it, we were talking in the pregame show. I think we know now who the quarterback is. It's Nico, and we have the 2025 version of Jaheim White and Donaldson. We know that Clay's going to replace White, and we talked about that guy in the pregame show, and we wondered where he was, and boy, did he show up! And I think let me look at the stats here. How about that? 100-yard. He had over 100 yards.
Yeah.
I lost it. I got to get it here. Hold on just a second. Nice thing having this stuff, the fingertips, is sometimes your fingers don't go in the right place where you feel you should. Trying to get Ty's numbers here. Big 12. And let's do West Virginia. I think he had about 135 yards, but here we go. Box score. Come on. And let's go West Virginia. Brought up Pitt. He had 25 carries for 141 yards at a 6-yard average.
Yeah.
Three touchdowns and 27-yard long. So he's your big back. He's your Donaldson. And Clay Ash, I think he had 12 carries for 37 yards, a 3.1 average. And Nico ended up okay. I mean, 19 for 25 for 200 yards, no interceptions. That was a killer with the 2 interceptions. But what are you going to do? Here's Timothy Green. Let's go Mountaineers. I'm so glad we beat Pitt. I don't even know how to act or what to say. Well, you're doing a pretty good job, Timothy. I was torn up like a train wreck with about 14 minutes to go. Can't wait until we play them again. It's going to be a while, but
it'll be a few years.
Yeah, that's right.
You mentioned Nico's stats there, and those stats are average, but you would much rather have somebody come in, run the offense, be consistent, and not turn the ball over. And I felt like he did that, and if our running game can develop a little bit more, it's going to help him with the passing game as well. If you think back, and I know it's hard to think back to the beginning of the game, our first couple series, our offensive line was atrocious again. I heard somebody say my screen door has more holes in it than our offensive line can open up, and they were pretty bad to begin with. But then they did a lot better after that, and they protected well. Um, Gave him time, if we did have to throw. I mean, 19 for 25, that's not too bad. And our run game obviously was excellent. And if that run game continues to improve, then you want somebody back there that's not going to turn the ball over, not make mistakes, like Nico. And I think you said it, Frank. He is the quarterback. I'm not doubting any of those other guys' talent. I think Scotty Fox is talented, and he's going to be really good. But he is a freshman, and he's going to make freshman mistakes. And I don't think you want to try to learn from your mistakes against Pitt, or a championship game or anything like that. You want to give him time, to figure it all out. And Nico hasn't figured out. I mean, he's going to make a few mistakes here and there, but all in all, he's pretty consistent, and he's not, he don't make huge mistakes with the ball. He will throw an interception occasionally, but any of them's going to do that. I think he is the quarterback going forward. I think you got your running back set back there with Ash and Edwards. Now we got to get our receivers, lined up. And I think, with if you again thinking through the game, or you look at some of the big plays we had from the passing game, they weren't necessarily our wide receivers every time, but people going down the middle of the field. I think we mentioned tight ends. We hit the tight end a few times today. Those were important things, and again, schematics, it makes all the difference in the world. And I think our offensive schemes kind of fit our personnel right now, and hopefully it can just continue to get better. So exciting. I'm fired up.
Yeah, and people who follow us know we never talked about Justin Smith Brown, never.
Nope.
In the wide receiver corps, for a transfer from South Carolina State. He had that great 56-yard pass and run. It's the only catch he made all night. But the more important thing is he had 7 receivers make 22 receptions. Rodney Gallagher had 7, and as you said a few minutes ago, we talked about in the pregame show, we mentioned that the Pro Football Focus grades for the tight end room they were bad last week. And you got Grayson Barnes scored a touchdown, caught 5 passes for 60 yards, 12-yard average, and Jacob Barrett made a very nice catch, had 1 for 7. So we're getting productivity in a Power 4 team. That was really putting up almost 60 points a game on average. So those are all really good things. And so at any rate, the receivers. Go ahead.
Yeah, and our defense, going back to the defense, if you think about it, you take away those 2 picks, you're probably taking away. I mean, they scored on both of those, and you take those out of the picture. You look at what our defense did again. We're holding them to 10 or 17 again. I just think our defense is a little bit overlooked because, we do give up plays every now and then. We gave up a big 68-yard pass there in the game, and so that's been happening. So it makes it seem like the defense is not as solid as we'd like. But if you look at the points given up, and even today we gave up 24, but you could easily take away 10 or 14 of those. And, really, if, you eliminate those interceptions. So, I think our defense right now is playing lights out. I mean, I think our defense is pretty good.
In fact, I just put up that you're a member of the Sports Legends Hall of Fame, and that, I tried to get in there, and you know what they told me? They said I could get into the West Virginia Sports Legends Hall of Fame. It's $25 to come in and take a look at the plaques on the wall. But I'm negotiating.
What I did was I paid the $25 to get in to look at the plaques. And while I was in there, I slipped text Williams a $100 bill, and he said, "I'll get you a plaque tomorrow."
Well, there you go.
I got in. I just paid my way in.
Yeah, there you go. But the thing about the defense I wanted to get in there is that we went 2.5 point. I got it written down here somewhere. Where did I put it? I think I can't remember where I put it. I think, yeah, here it is. We went 2.5 games, the Robert Morris game, the Ohio game, and up until the third quarter of the almost third quarter of the game tonight, giving up 16 points. The defense was playing crazy, and then all of a sudden, as soon as I wrote that down, the floodgates opened and they scored a bunch. But when you give them such a short field like we did with those interceptions, what are you going to do? And then that one long pass that Fred usually does a great job in the backside, and he just got beat on that. And a great wide receiver grabbed that ball. Here we got Timothy. This is Greg and Frank. You are full of crap this evening. Glad you're glad to see you're in such a good mood. Well, we are, aren't we?
Yeah, there's a reason for that, isn't there? My wife's been shaking her head all evening at me because I've been in there yelling and a few curse words here and there and jumping up and down. She just laughs at me anymore. She used to get upset and say, "What's wrong with you?" But now she understands. She don't. No, I shouldn't say that. She don't understand. She just accepts it.
Yeah. But it's and you and I know each other really well. We would have been a good mood even if we had lost the game in overtime or didn't come back, because you could see that they weren't folding. They had the persistence to come back. Even though some of those referee calls, I mean, it just they were. It's like really, but
I hate to say, I don't like to be one that criticizes the officials. I mean, I was a coach for years and criticized them a lot. But I sit and watch these games and I just think sometimes, where are these guys coming from? And some of those calls today, one that stands out in my mind especially was when they called the roughing the passer on us. The guy goes in and tackles him, and just because his head bounces off the ground don't mean we unnecessarily roughed him.
I know.
And I'm sitting there thinking, where do you come up with these things? Yeah. And the call, I want to bring this up too. The call right before halftime. First of all, there was a head-to-head before he went down. They didn't call that. They called the late hit on the guy coming in after he hit the ground. And I understand their explanation, which is a bad rule. And that is when he hit the ground, the clock stops because he got a first down. There's 1 second left on the clock. You can't do anything with 1 second because you can't line up and snap the ball in that amount of time. You have to have at least 3 seconds. I get all that. But what I would like to say about that is this, Frank, and you can disagree with me or not, but if there had been no penalty right there and Nico would have gotten tackled and made the first down, the half would have ended. They would not have stopped the clock to reset the chains. They would have ended the half right there. So to say that there was still 1 second on the clock, that to me was wrong, because the clock was ticking, and maybe when he hit the ground there might have been a part of a second left, but if that had been regular, no penalty, regular play, the clock would have ran out, and that would have been the end of the half, no questions asked. But when they threw the flag, then they went back, looked at it, and said, what they said about it, stopping with 1 second. To me, that was bogus, and I think that they missed the penalty that happened before the late hit, which was a head-to-head shot on the quarterback, which might have been what was wrong with Nico starting the second half. The guy clearly hit him in the head with his head, and then he went down, and the guy came in late. So, they missed that first of all, and then the other thing I just totally don't get. You can get away with a personal foul when time's expiring, and there's no punishment for it. I think that's like the guy kept saying on the air. That's a loophole. Well, I don't know if it's a loophole or not, but it's a dumb rule, whatever it is, whatever the rule is. But there were some questionable calls. I don't know. And I hate to be one to harp about the officiating, but they were ACC officials, which I think is something else they need to change. we shouldn't have ACC officials or Big Ten officials or Big 12 officials. We should have officials. And you don't come from a conference because you're going to show favoritism. You're a human being. And you just can't help but think that plays into it. But I tell you what, there were some strange calls. I don't know what your thoughts are on all that, but
Well, I think if I look at the circumstance leading to those calls, I agree with you about the calls. We know that these players are getting bigger, stronger, and faster all the time. Eli Holstein was not Eli Holstein tonight.
yeah,
You think of that last throw. There was no one there. He just threw it out of bounds. That makes no sense.
yeah,
I think he
yeah,
got his bell rung. He just wasn't himself. His stats were not bad 22, 37, 22 out of 37, 303 yards, but only an 8.2 average. Now, I understand, Reed was out of there. He was when he was in, 6 carries, 30 yards, a 5-yard average, which is like him. But one of the things I would say about Pitt, and I disagree with several of our fans tonight, it's interpretive. I don't think they were faking those injuries. I don't think they were prepared to play in that heat and humidity.
yeah,
Most of those look to be hydration issues with cramps.
yeah,
And I remember one time watching a game where a whole bunch of players that on one team started to do that in a game that was at Rutgers when it was incredibly humid, and the coach admitted after it was over that he didn't think his team was properly hydrated. That's excusable. But the bottom line, and you probably have read this, an ACC official this week got so upset with the recall and the way in which the home office was making calls, the ACC home office, he quit as a referee. He just quit.
wow,
And he was the lead referee and had been refereeing for a long time. Well, you have to be able to be a lead referee. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I dealt with Narduzzi when he was at Michigan State and I was there, and I'll tell you, he's a great defensive coordinator. But some guys want to become head coaches, and he left for Pitt. But yeah, he's not one of my favorite people, and that
Hard
team's
to
not
like.
one of my favorite teams.
Yeah, hard to like, isn't it? Um,
Yeah.
I would say this about about those injuries. I agree with you. I think most of them were legit, but I do think there were a couple of times when guys went down on purpose. I did see one of them that went down and went to the sideline. The coach was over laughing and joking it up with him as he come off the sideline. But the ones I would question, and I told my son while we were watching the game, and I think this is a change that needs to be made in the rules, is when you see a guy like it go down and the defense then substitutes 3 or 4 players. To me, that's suspect. And I saw that a few times today. Told my son, I said, they need to change the rule that if a guy goes down like that, he has to sit out at least till the end of the series that you're involved in. If it's one play and a fumble, so be it. If it's a field goal, so be it. If it's a 10-play drive, so be it. He has to sit out until that series is over. I think would be a good way to make the rule. And then also, you're only allowed to substitute player for player. So if he is down, you can substitute for him only, and not do a wholesale substitution like I saw a couple times tonight. So I think most of them were legit, but I think there were a few of them that they were just trying to slow the tempo down a little bit and get some subs in the game. So I think maybe they need to look at the rules just a little bit on that, and it wouldn't be a big change, be a minor change, but it would be effective, I think, if you make a person sit out a series. If they're hurt bad enough to lay on the field, then they should not be back out on the field on the very next play. You know what I mean? If you go down and are laying on the field and they have to come out with the trainers and all that, and then you go to the sidelines, the very next play you're back on the field, something's wrong with that. And so I think they need to look at the rule on that a little bit and make it so that player has to sit out a series, and then I think you would see less of that. And then the wholesale substitution thing, I don't think that should be allowed.
Tim Green is asking for clarification on that ACC official. And let me just refer you to you can get it, it's an ESPN article. And the title of the article is ACC Ref Quits Over Handling of UConn Syracuse Review. Head official, and let me see, his name is Gary Patterson. And, they go over to the side and look into the video. Evidently, they got headphones on. They're interacting with the head office, which I think is in New York. For the ACC, yeah. I may be wrong. And evidently, he got just frustrated with the way in which the head office was handling calls that were made on the field by the officials. And then a few days later, he handed in his resignation. Now, whether he's going to be, he's quitting the profession altogether, or he'll be hooked up with another league, I don't know. But his name is, what did I say, Gary Patterson? Yep. His name is Gary Patterson. And again, the article is ACC Ref Quits Over Handling of UConn Syracuse Review.
Wow. Well, you can kind of understand that from a ref's standpoint. If they really feel like they got something right and they're watching on their little screen and the other guys are trying to turn it over, kind of understand that a little bit. I know they're, they don't want to get calls wrong. They don't want to be, they hate it when they have to overturn a call. And, but that replay is their friend, or it should be, to make sure they get them right. And, my big issue with all of it is, again, take the 2-point conversion that Pitt ran tonight, and the guy caught it in the end zone. They called it incomplete. If they would have called it complete, it'd been one thing. Mm-hmm. They called it incomplete. They reviewed it, and it's supposed to be irrefutable evidence. Well, I watched the replays too, and I couldn't see anything on there that indicated that his foot come down in bounds, or that his right foot touched the ground before his left foot came down. Nothing on that video said that. And had they called that complete, they would not have overturned it. They just said, not enough evidence. But they did overturn it and say there was enough evidence. I'm hoarse from yelling and screaming, but they did say there was enough evidence, which there wasn't. I mean, I watched the replay. There was nothing there that was clearly, obviously, enough to overturn it. So I have problems with things like that. I don't have problems a lot with the officiating calls, but there were some questionable things tonight.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things we talked about last week and talked about in the pregame, going back to the stats, was the time of possession. You talked about it in pregame. Yep. The good news about this game is West Virginia actually won the time of possession battle at 32 minutes, which is really good news because, you saw the graphic during the game. Our average possessions were like a minute and a half. And so that really helped. Also, I want to put a shout out to Darian Lewis, who really got victimized last week against Ohio. He was the leading tackler, had an interception tonight, which was great. He had 8 total tackles. He and Ben Cutter, and it's great to have Ben's name up there. Linebacker, he also had 8 total. And Tarnu, God, could have ended the game with that interception. He didn't, but he had 7 tackles. And Fred Perry had 6, and Reed Carrico had 6. So when you think about those 5 guys who have gotten sort of mixed reviews, to see Lewis, Cutter, Tarnu, Perry, and Carrico all up there almost with equal numbers in terms of total tackles. Carrico had half of a sack. They just did a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Pro Football Focus scores are going to be this week, because that defense, I mean, when you think about it, Greg, who would have even have been crazy enough to predict, as good as Zach Alley as a defensive coordinator, when you look at what we had last year, where the defense would let us down no matter what the offense did. And sometimes the offense would let us down with not being able to drive the ball. But the turnaround is nothing more than spectacular. That's why this was a program win. All the aspirations and hope with Rich Rod coming back, but you got to have the proof. And tonight, last week was a question mark, and tonight was an exclamation point.
Yep. I think you're right. And some of those players you mentioned, I was going to mention Lewis. Yeah, he's had some problems back there, but I'll tell you what he does. He is very physical. When he hits somebody, he hits them, and I really like that about him. And he had several tackles tonight, and just hard hits. Same way with Perry. Fred Perry come in and I mean he lays a lick on people. They occasionally break down in coverage, but man, they hit. And Tardo, like you said, could have ended the game here on that interception, but he had a great game, had some great tackles, made some good plays in the backfield, some tackles for losses and that sort of thing. So yeah, those guys are playing lights out right now, and I mean that's what we got to have that. But I want to credit more than anything the defensive line. I thought we kept pressure on Holstein all night. I thought we were in his face a lot. And one thing that I still love about our defense this year as compared to the years past is that when we blitz, we get people in there. We don't always make the tackle. We don't always get a sack, but we get people in close to the quarterback. And I really like that with our blitz packages that, and hats off to the defense coordinator again. Like you mentioned, our defense is playing pretty well and we're getting pressure back there. And that's the key to all of it. And you help your defensive back so much when you get that pressure on the quarterback, make some hurry throws, miss throws. And we saw that a lot tonight. I mean, he hurried a lot. He had people open. He missed people several times. And we covered well. So I thought defensively, we were, again, top notch. I think our defense has been solid all the way through.
Yeah.
But, and Frank, isn't it amazing? I mean, you just look up from one week to the next, and you look at the difference in our offensive line. Last week we couldn't rush the ball, for 2 yards if we needed to. Tonight, Edwards just slashed and gained yards after yards after yards. And we really didn't use the quarterback much in the run game, which we usually do. So hats off to the offensive line for showing that improvement. I felt like it was going to be a key, and they actually came through and got it done.
Yeah, you did. But the big news is you won the Pick'em this week.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, you did. You people who've been watching this know that Mickey picked, I picked, Mike Fox picked, Dwayne Woods, who was our guest on Wednesday, picked, and Greg picked. And Mike Fox and I were close, but you beat us. You were only 10 points total off. You picked 24-21 West Virginia. And the score obviously was 31-24. And Ohio has scored. We put this up.
Good.
Ohio now is down by 10. So they're and how much time is left? Let me look at that. There is hold on. Again, I pushed when I was reaching, I pushed the wrong button. So now I have to go back and get where I was before. There it's halftime. It's halftime, 13-3. So, and Ohio came back in the second half and almost beat Rutgers. And for them to be only up, I mean, that game, what was the line on that game? The game was like, I think it was 28. Let me see if I can find it here. That was, 31.5. Ohio State was a 31.5 favorite. So that's amazing. Yeah. The over and under is 52.5.
After what happened last week, we got to kind of root for Ohio to put on a good showing.
That's
I
right.
think that looks good for us. And they're hanging in there right now. That's great.
Yeah. I can't remember. Is Kansas playing this week, or do they have an off week? I can't. It would be a shame if they did. They have an off week. Yeah, that's that's interesting. That early in the season, Kansas has an off week. Texas Tech is taking care of Oregon State. Utah is
Iowa State's having a rough. I'm sorry, Frank. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just heard Iowa State's having a rough time with Arkansas State.
Yeah, they finally prevailed by 8, 24-16. Utah's having trouble with Wyoming. I'm a little bit surprised there. Utah's 4th-and-1 on the Wyoming 32. It's in the second quarter, but it's only 3-0. TCU, as expected, is beating Abilene Christian in the second. Baylor rolled over Samford, Bobby Bowden's old school. Cincinnati just pummeled Northwestern State. And then yet to play is Texas State, Arizona State. Texas State's a good club. Arizona State's an 18.5 favorite, but Texas State is undefeated. And then last night, for those of you who watched those games or maybe didn't, we were both talking, Greg and I, in the pregame store. We're a little bit surprised that Houston was able to roll over Colorado as easily as they did, winning by 16, 36-20. And Arizona, woe begone Kansas State, barely beating North Dakota State, losing to Iowa State, losing to Army, and then lost to Arizona at Arizona by 6, 23-17. So, Big 12. You said it in the pregame show. The Big 12 is, we expected it to be wide open, but it looks like it's going to be Iowa State and everybody else.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I thought if we got this win tonight, which we did, praise be, we will have a shot at this Big 12. We just got to keep progressing forward. We hope injuries don't wipe us out. I didn't see too many people limping around on the field today, but if you can stay healthy, I think that's going to be a big key going down the road, and continue to show some improvements each week. I think we got a shot. I think this Big 12 is wide open. I don't think there's any dominant team, even Iowa State, who's decent. I don't think they're great. I think they're pretty good. But I think we have a real legitimate shot at it if we continue to improve. And a game like today gives you hope, because you look at Arizona. I believe that's Muggy McLeod, aka Brian Christ. I'm not sure who Brian Christ is, but I do know who Muggy McLeod is. I lost my train of thought too. But you look at what we did today as far as the rushing game is concerned, and the passing game, hitting all these different receivers, our defense. If you can continue to improve, you're going to have a chance. And I think things look good right now. And I still feel, Frank, if we win 6 or 7 games, I think it would be a feather in Rich Rod's cap. I still feel that way. I optimistic. I'm thinking that we can win 9 or 10, but realistically, if we win 6 or 7, I think that's not bad.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I think what you do now is you take a deep breath, and with the program win and questions answered on offense, clearly you want to sustain and improve on defense. And on offense, you got to be able to have a unit you can have some confidence in. And we never got over the hump on that side of the ball last year. But Nico, you know how difficult it is for a player to come in, not do as well as he could in a big game, and then have to come back. But they had enough confidence in him to put him in at the end, and he did it. Now, on the flip side of that is Scotty Fox. As a freshman, that guy's not going to sleep tonight because he threw the 2 picks after the big play. But you have to say, look, he's a freshman. He's learning. Yeah. The fact that he's even in there is amazing. Just give him time. So, I'm sure the conversation with him is going to be, listen. Yeah. It happens. And you got to slow the game down a little bit. Yeah. You got to make good decisions. Yeah. You're going to get better at that. It's going to come. You just got to be patient. Again, I wasn't opposed to giving him some reps. I'm okay with that because I think they need that. I did question the length of time they gave him reps. And as far as Nico is concerned, nothing could be harder, than to play an entire half of football like that, where you're moving and running and getting hit. You go in at halftime, you sit for 20 minutes, you come back out, and boom, you're on the sideline for a whole quarter and part of another one. Just to come back in physically, it has to be tough. So again, hats off to Nico for stepping up. And but he's been resilient. He's been there for a long time. When he first got there, everyone thought he was the next coming. And he's a solid quarterback.
and I think showing the grit that he showed tonight and being able to come back after sitting down for that length of time is a credit to him. And I think it's I think that's all part of the package too. That's an important part of the package. He has the grit and the desire and the determination to succeed.
Right.
And you throw him in a tough situation like that, then and he responds. That's awesome.
Yeah, your brother likes me more than he likes you. I've never heard Brian call you sexy. So
he called you a sexy fool.
I'm a sexy. Is that a sexy tool or sexy two?
Yeah, either way.
Either way. And you know what? I was talking with an athlete the other day, and he said, when I played ball, he said it was amazing. I never knew who was watching and how that might come up. Look at this. Who's watching the show tonight? It's Pat Narduzzi.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I have an awful feeling in the pit of my stomach. Isn't that something?
Yeah, you never know, man. You never know. Well, Narduzzi, we're sorry for you. That was a doozy. And we feel bad for you, but we're going to get over it real quick, like right now.
Yeah, that's right.
We're over.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I think Muggy McLeod there, a.k.a. Brian Christ, I think may have been he may have been tipping a few back today while the game was going on. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that.
Oh, my God. Yes. Here's Timothy Green. My optimism towards this team has completely changed after last week's loss. I was kind of down and out, but now it's looking a lot better, not just because we won, but and that's the important point.
That's right.
How they played, the way, that's a good point, Timothy. The way they played. And then that's exactly the kind of, Mike Fox wanted to share this, and I didn't include it in the pregame clips because we have time limits on what we can show in clips on this system. But he said, being at the game this week, he said the enthusiasm of the former players for the program. He hasn't seen it since way back in the first Rich Rod era, and then of course also in the Nealon era, and that's really good. I mean, a whole bunch of guys. In fact, they're having so much fun. We still don't know where Freddi Boom Smalls is. He was supposed to join us. What's amazing about this? Freddi even promoted the show on his Facebook. And then he's not here.
Hey, Frank, I think he might be with Brian somewhere.
I think so. I mean, we don't care. I mean, it's we're here for these guys when they want to come on, and we're really. And next week, Dwayne Woods, great running back from Bluefield, is going to be with us for the Kansas game, and we're starting to get other guys lined up, and so we always want to be joined, but somehow let me check maybe on my text. There's a text from Boom. No. So there's no. So he's enjoying the night.
I texted him too at halftime, and I never heard anything back from him. So
he's having fun.
Service. Going back to what Timothy said, Frank. I agree with Timothy. After last week, you're like, golly, we're just not very good. It's going to be a long, long season, which it may still be. But after last week, you're just kind of, okay, it's going to take time to rebuild. We got to, we'll get things together. Well, after today, and you saw how they performed and the improvements that they've made, now you're thinking, okay, if we can improve that much from last week to this week, we can go somewhere. So you get, it's renewed optimism for the team and the job that Coach Rodriguez is doing. And I feel like Timothy. I'm renewed, but if we beat Pitt, I said, now I wish I hadn't said this. If we go 2-10, as long as we beat Pitt, I'm happy. But
see,
I don't, not anymore. I'd rather win the rest of them. But yeah, it does give you renewed hope and a new feeling about the team.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe this is the teacher in me, but the key, when you're teaching students, the key is not necessarily where any student is at any one time, but that there's progress. This too, as a former teacher, and that's what you wanted to see in the team is the progress. And the old bromide, Nick Saban used to talk about this all the time, still does. The biggest progress is usually made between week 1 and week 2, and we didn't do it this year, obviously. But again, that's Ohio. I mean, the Ohio team, that's a good Bobcat team. They're odds on to win the MAC again and go to a bowl. And we can already see they're beating the odds tonight, at least so far, against Ohio State, which is one of the toughest venues to play in the country. And of course, for them, it's the biggest game probably of the decade to play Ohio State as Ohio University. But next week we're going to face a Daniels quarterback who is mobile again. He's back to where he was 2 years ago, finding his receivers. He can run when he needs to. And so we're going to, like Navarro of Ohio, he's going to give us a lot of he's going to give us a lot of troubles. And just like Ohio with the games on the road. Now, the thing is, I thought that game was set at 6:00 Eastern, but I checked just before we went on the air, and they pulled the time. So I'm not sure when our pregame show is going to be on next week. If it's 6:00, we'll be on probably about 4:00, from 4 to 5, or from 4:30 to 5:30. But I don't book that time yet. I think we've got to make sure that it's firm. And of course, these networks jockey with each other, and the win over Pitt is going to probably move the Mountaineers up in terms of the network options.
Yeah, I would say you're right. It'd probably be on the noon game or 3:00 game. But yeah, we'll get that out and let everybody know. And what you said, Frank, about the teaching and the learning, that sort of thing. I always said when I taught, I used to get so frustrated because all everybody ever talked about was, test scores. Do they have an A or a B in your class, or a D or an F, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, you know what? I don't care what they got. I don't care if they got a D. I don't care if they got an A, because, to me, always that never showed a sign of really intelligence or of learning anything. And I said, if my students are learning something, I don't care what their grade is. I couldn't give two hoots about their grade. And I would tell the kids that. Don't worry about what your grade is. I just want you to learn something. You're in here to learn something. You're not in here to get an A or a B or a C. You're in here to learn. And as long as you're learning something, then you're moving forward. And I think with the team, as long as they're, learning something and getting better, then that's all we can ask for. And that's going to be good things down the road. You just got to get better each week. You got to learn from mistakes, that sort of thing. There's plenty of stuff to look at on the film, which I'm sure Coach Rod and all his coaches will do. They'll try to get those corrected. And as long as you can see that progress and that improvement each night, each day, then that's a good sign. That's a good sign. Win or lose, that's a good sign. Going back to Kansas now that you mentioned that and their quarterback, Frank, that really worries me because, we obviously have trouble with those scrambling quarterbacks, I think, because of our speed on defense. So that gives me some concern. But I think that we can, prevail because, we handled Navarro plenty okay. I mean, he got his yards. He did his thing. We still held him 17 points. And if our defense can keep him out of the end zone, that's the key. And I think that, I think we're fully capable of that. So, I'm ready to go. Like I said, I'm fired up. Got a new, renewed hope. And I see Timothy's got a comment there. I can't see it, but
yeah, let me read it for you because I want to respond to it. What bothers me most about the Kansas game is they've had a week off to rest. Sometimes that can be either good or bad. My response to that is you got to have bye weeks. But what they should do is if Kansas has a bye week, they should travel to Morgantown. It shouldn't be you get a bye week and you get a home game. I think agree. That's a problem. Let me give you the numbers on Daniels. And he's, Jalen Daniels is just not the guy he was last year. He's much better. He already has 9 touchdowns. He already has 700 yards, and he has a 77 quarterback rating, and he's 54 for 75. So when you think about him, now the only thing is, if you look at Kansas, they live and die by Jalen Daniels. Their leading rusher, Hishaw, that name is awfully familiar. Daniel Hishaw. He must be. I think he played some. No, he's only played at Kansas. Maybe I remember that name from last year. But he only has 33 carries for 169 yards. And so when you think about that in relationship to what Jalen Daniels doing, that's amazing.
Yep.
And so they've got a good team. Obviously the line isn't set yet, but the matchup predictor, ESPN matchup predictor, has KU 83% possibility of winning versus WVU. So
Yeah.
they view this, but I think today's game hasn't been factored in yet.
Right. I was going to say, I'm sure that was after last week, and I'm sure that'll change a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas is the favorite, but that'll change, based on this week's performance. Again, another thing to worry about too. You guys, Kansas got the new stadium. I watched their first game, and man, that place was rocking. Those people are excited,
Yeah.
about their football team and the prospects of improving. They struggled for years, and I think people out there are ready for a winner, and so that's a little worrisome as well. But again, you got to go out there and you got to play ball, and we got to contain him a little bit. We got to go stop him, obviously, but you got to contain him. So hopefully we'll do that. Frank, I want to give a shout out. My family is watching tonight. In case you didn't know, Brian, my brother. Yeah, I know you know him, but the viewers, Brian's my brother and his wife watching, and my sister and brother-in-law, Robin Biggs and Randy Biggs, out down in Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, I got two brothers that won't watch. It's Dr. Christ and Ed Christ, my other two brothers that I can't get them to watch it no matter what. So, but anyway, shout out to those that are watching, and I'll remember that at Christmas time. So I just want to get that in there before we sign off.
Excellent. Well, it's getting close here.
Yep.
We should probably wind it down. Anybody have any final comments they want to make? And as you're collecting your thoughts, just to remind people, our Wednesday show.
Yep.
Let me get this up here, right here. Come on, you can come up.
Go.
Hold on.
There
it doesn't want to go up. Sometime there it is. It finally
it's
went
up on my end.
There it is. Dave Preston from the '80s. Very, very good guy. Has had there we go. Has had a great career in the workplace. Was a solid linebacker from 80 to 84. Is going to be with us, and Mickey, of course, is back with us during the season. So we look forward to you joining us live at 7:00 on Wednesday. Simulcast both on West Virginia, the voice of West Virginia college football, and the New River Network on Facebook, YouTube, Roku, and Optimum Cable. If you're in the Southern West Virginia area, let's also put up another. Let me see. Let me take this off. Trying to do two things at once here.
While you're doing that, I got busted by Dr. Chris, my other brother, who is watching the show. He said he just didn't know how to comment for sure. So he sent me a message just now and told me it. So hey, got to give a shout out to Andy Chris, aka Dr. Chris. He was on my show quite a few times and had some pretty good segments on my show. But if I can get my family involved, Frank, that would increase our viewership immensely.
That's right.
I got to keep him engaged.
Well, you got a fan here in Timothy Grace. Give a shout out to the Chris family. And also Timothy has sent me a text. He wants you to give him a holiday present if you could, or two, as a loyal viewer. I think you deserve it, Timothy. I'll tell you. So,
yes, he is.
Yeah.
He is a loyal follower.
He is. He's great. We really appreciate a former coal miner. Retired.
This Pitt win's turned into a. See, Andy just subscribed too, so it's already helping us. Frank. He just subscribed to the channel. This Pitt game's turned into a little bit of a party here at the Chris Mansion. I don't know if you can hear it in the background or not, but I'm sure we'll have some visitors tonight. So
yeah. Well,
anyway, Dave Preston, that'll be a great show. Can't wait for that. That was back during my time in college, 80 to 84. So looking forward to talking to him. He was a heck of a football player. So that's going to be a good show.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. Have really enjoyed getting to know Dave, and he'll be a lot of stories and a very entertaining guest as well. No question about
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. All right, Frank. Enjoyable. Fun to come on here after a big win like that. Man alive, I'm fired up about the Mountaineers. I think all Mountaineer fans probably are. So it was fun tonight, and fun game to watch. Great game to watch, and especially winning makes it even better. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I look forward to bringing you the Mountaineer Locker Room then and now Wednesday night on the New River Network and the Voice of College Football. For Frank, I'm Greg, and man, what a night to be a Mountaineer fan. And one more time, let's go Mountaineers! Eat shit, Pitt.
That's right. I join you in that.
All
Take
right,
care,
Frank.
everybody.
All right,
Bye
good night,
bye.
everybody. We'll see you Wednesday night.